Hi guys, welcome to our channel, where we share exciting and educational content. Please like, subscribe, and give us your feedback.
My name is Benjamin, but I go by Ben. I used to be happy, always running around with my best friend, Jack. We were inseparable and oftentimes sought new adventures in the village together. But everything changed one afternoon when we stumbled upon a shiny new ball in the forest. It was perfect, round, bright, and just what we needed for our games. I reached for it, and so did Jack. We both wanted it, and neither of us wanted to share. Jack looked at me, his eyes narrowing, and before I could say anything, he grabbed the ball and took off running. I just stood there, shocked and hurt, as he disappeared down the path. My chest felt tight, and all the joy drained out of me. How could he do that to me? We were supposed to be friends. From that moment, I couldn't get the image of Jack running away out of my mind. The anger I felt settled in my chest like a heavy stone. I didn't want to play anymore. Instead, I spent my days sitting by the village well, clutching a small stone I found there, as if it somehow captured all the hurt and betrayal I felt. The weight of that stone in my hand seemed to mirror the weight in my heart. Days turned into weeks, and I couldn't shake the feeling of betrayal. I saw Jack around the village, but I avoided him. Every time I thought of him, I squeezed the stone tighter, as if holding onto my anger would make it better. But it didn't. Instead, it just made me feel worse and more isolated. One morning, my grandfather noticed something was wrong after I refused breakfast and ran off to school. He then made up his mind to help me. When I got home, he handed me a small sack and led me into the village grove. We walked in silence until we reached a large rock in the middle of the woods. Grandpa gestured for me to sit, then left me there alone. I think he thought that a quiet space would help me clear my thoughts. I sat on that rock for what felt like hours, holding the stone in one hand. The forest around me was peaceful, with birds singing and leaves rustling. It helped me calm down. All I could think about was the anger that had taken hold of me. As I sat there, I began to notice how tired my hand was from holding the stone so tightly. I opened my fingers and stared at the stone, realizing it was just an ordinary rock. But to me, the stone had come to represent all the anger and hurt I had been carrying since that day in the forest. I thought about Jack, about all the fun we used to have together before that one terrible moment. I missed him, missed the laughter and the games. I realized that holding on to my anger wasn't making me feel better. It was only making me feel worse. Slowly, I placed the stone into the sack and tied it shut. When I stood up, I felt lighter, as if the weight in my chest had lifted. I walked back to the village, each step easier than the last. Without thinking twice, I tossed the sack into the well. I watched it disappear into the water, and as it did, I felt a strange sense of relief. The anger that had consumed me was gone, and for the first time in weeks, I felt like myself again. Later that afternoon, I saw Jack sitting alone by the edge of the village. Something inside me told me to go to him, so I did. I walked over and sat down beside him. We looked at each other hugied, then started crying. I felt better after I forgave Jack. It was like a big weight was lifted off my shoulders. I will always be grateful to my grandfather for helping me realize that my anger wasn't helping me feel better, only worse. I learned that bitterness hurts like a disease and forgiveness is the cure.